welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. Got a pretty interesting show for you here today. Going to talk some Wembanyama meets the King, LeBron James, that is. But before we get to that, if you're here on YouTube, you already know what time it is. Please, if you haven't already, click that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell so you can be kept up to date whenever new content drops on the channel. And let's keep this in mind. We're almost at 800 subscribers. Been doing this for a while. Thank you so much for everybody who clicked that button. Please make sure you're sharing the podcast. Once we hit that magic number of 1,000 subscribers, what I'm going to start doing probably weekly is a live call-in show. I already got the equipment ready, so I'm just waiting for us to hit that. I'm going to start doing the live call-in shows. You could call in. You could debate me. You could tell me I'm an idiot. You could tell me you like what I'm doing and like where I'm coming from. You agree. But I'm definitely looking forward to that. Just a much better opportunity to really interact with all you guys who leave me comments, who watch the show, who check the shorts and the reels and all that stuff on Instagram and TikTok. Definitely appreciate you. So, yeah, make sure you share the pod. Make sure you're telling people to like and subscribe. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in the Format Podcast. Give us that like, that 5-star review if you enjoy the content. Make sure you leave a comment. Do all those things. You know what happens. It helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. We'll get to that magic number of 1,000 subscribers. We'll start doing live call-in shows, and we're going to really get this thing popping. But let's go. Let's get to it. All right. When was this? This was, I believe, last Friday night. San Antonio Spurs played the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Spurs have been, let's be real, a flat-out bad team this year, right? They're 4-20 on the season, 2-11 at home. The only real, shining point of this team, of course, is watching Victor Wembanyama, the number 1 overall pick, the guy who's supposed to be an alien and the next great, all-time great player and generational and this, that, and the third. And I mean, he's definitely skilled. He's definitely talented. But some of the stuff they're saying about this guy to me is absurd, right? Talking about if he doesn't, what did they say? I think I heard someone say, if he becomes Hakeem Olajuwon, then his career is a disappointment. That I don't even know where to take that, but I guess that's a different show we can do about the expectations placed on Victor Wembanyama. But anyway, the guy's been really good so far this season. Again, really good on a terrible team. He's averaging 19 points, 11 rebounds, 2.7 assists. What I like, what really stands out to me, because obviously it's easy to score in the modern NBA, I love the fact that he's actually hitting the glass and he's averaging 11 rebounds. I think that's interesting because you got a guy like Zion, who is probably infinitely stronger and more physically gifted than him, who's averaging less than 8 rebounds for his career. But, we could talk about Zion another time. Anyway, so the Spurs end up beating the Lakers 129-115. I thought that was interesting. In that game, Wembanyama had 13 points, 15 rebounds, and a plus 19 plus minus. And it's interesting to note LeBron James had 23 points, 14 assists. And let me say this, right? That particular game, he only scored 23 points. He didn't shoot particularly well from the field for his standards, that being LeBron, 7 of 17. 2 for 6 from three-point range. He's been shooting really well from three and really well from the field all season long, right? Got to give it credit where credit is due. But what I loved is the 14 assists, right? We know that LeBron is a passer. We know that he can dish the rock. A lot of his assists throughout his career have come on drive and kick, but regardless, LeBron can find guys open and get them in position. And I love the fact that he had 23 points and he wasn't shooting it particularly well, but he had the 14 assists. I love the fact that he tried to find a different way to get his guys involved so that his team could win. Now, unfortunately, they didn't win, but just, even with the minus 28 plus minus, those 14 assists really, really stand out to me. Plus 7 rebounds. So, he tried to do what he could do, regardless. So Victor Wembanyama wins. Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs win the matchup 129-115. Comfortable win, which I don't know if that says more about the Spurs or it says more about the Lakers, whatever. But after the game, there was an interesting exchange with some of the reporters in the post-game presser. So what I'm going to do is play to you some of the sound from that, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Check out what Wembanyama had to say when he was asked an interesting question by one of the reporters in the post-game presser. Check that out. We'll come back and talk about it.
Against LeBron, what were your thoughts about that? Were you ever starstruck at times? A guy that you grew up watching?
You said starstruck?
Yeah.
I didn't know that word.
It means I'm seeing a star in front of me, but people are when they see you. I
would have thought I would feel some type of way, but honestly, on the court, I was just trying to win. You know, trying to defend and make the right play. So no, I didn't have no feelings on the court about it.
Okay, so I thought that was really interesting, and the reason it stuck out to me first is because, and we'll get back to his comments in a minute. When you talk about LeBron, this is one of those things where his name and the name of Michael Jordan, who many people feel is the greatest basketball player of all time, are kind of inextricably linked, right? When you talk about LeBron, you talk about Jordan. When you talk about Jordan, you often end up talking about LeBron. And it's just, the debate will go on and on. It's great content, as we know. Everybody talks about it, but it is interesting because every little thing on the floor, off the floor is just another thing to kind of point to, no matter which camp you're in, whether it's LeBron's camp or Jordan's camp, as who's the GOAT, right? And so now getting back to Wembanyama, this was interesting because if you heard it, the reporter asked kind of what were his thoughts or what was his feelings about playing against LeBron for the first time, because I believe the first time we played, LeBron didn't play, and he was kind of matched up against AD, and AD got the better of him, as he should. I think AD's a better player than him, at least at this point in his career. So he got the better and the Lakers won. But anyway, Wembanyama was asked what his feelings were about playing against LeBron, and you heard what he had to say. He said I guess he kind of thought that he would, have some more feelings about it, but really, it was a game, it was competition and all that. And so I don't know if that's Wembanyama's maturity talking. I don't know if that's Wembanyama kind of being used to being in the limelight himself, being a star in France and then coming over here and immediately being a star and being a guy that, all the attention has been on, as being the next guy, the next one, the next superstar, the next generational talent, quote unquote. And so I don't know what that was, but I found it so interesting that he felt kind of like I thought I would feel some kind of way, but I really didn't. It was just a game. And so this is where the Jordan stuff comes in, right? Because it always comes back to me for people don't look at LeBron and Michael Jordan the same way, whether it's as a player, whether it's as a person, whether it's on or off the court. And I keep talking about it because the LeBron fans will use anything to try and take a shot at Jordan, and they will use anything to say, well, this puts LeBron over Jordan. And so what I did was I went back and I looked to find commentary from some of the all-time great players and how they felt the first time they met Michael Jordan. So I actually have a few of those. I want to play them for you just so you can kind of get the feeling. So once you get the feeling of how those players felt the first time they met Michael Jordan, then compare to what Wembanyama said about LeBron James, and you'll kind of see where I'm going. Check it out.
I remember the first time I played against him, and I walked out on the court, and I looked at him, and for the first time in my life, a human being didn't look real to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if y'all watch the Chappelle show, but he talked about a certain incident where he seen somebody seen Rick James. And like, I literally seen his aura. Like it looked like he was glowing. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, like, man, that's Mike. And I'm looking at him. I can't stop looking at him. Like, I'm looking at his shoes and I'm like, man, he got on the Jordans. You know what I mean? It was Mike. It was my idol. It was my hero.
93, I got the Super Bowl was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I got on the elevator.
Uh-huh.
I'm on the I'm getting on the door, open up.
Uh-huh.
Michael Jordan and his first wife on the elevator.
Nah, boy.
I get on the elevator, and all of a sudden it's bright.
Yeah.
It's like this end glowing.
That boy.
And I'm looking at him. He's like, man, this dude a weirdo. I said,
you ain't say nothing?
I did. I said, hey, I'm Shannon Sharp. He said, I know who you are. He said, I met your mom in the casino.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, I know you and your brother. Y'all some bad boys.
Yeah.
I'm just.
You was an huh? Yeah. That's motherfucker Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Ocho, this man doesn't seem real. He's the
Yeah.
only man that I've ever met. He doesn't seem, he seems mythical. He doesn't,
Right.
I know that's Michael Jordan. I'm looking at him. That's a man.
Right.
But Ocho, there's something about, man, he levitates. And anybody that's ever met him, from Shaq to everybody, say the exact same thing. He doesn't seem real.
Yeah, that's.
It was my junior year in high school. I go up to Chicago and I go to a gym called Hoops where he plays basketball in the summertime. And I didn't know he was going to be there. But I seen him walking towards me, and it was kind of like he was walking on air. I had to pinch myself. Is that Michael? Who? And it's like he was like Black Jesus to me. Like.
So, and I'm not saying this makes Michael Jordan better than LeBron. Obviously, if you watch this channel, you know that I wholeheartedly believe that Michael Jordan is better than LeBron, even if you just leave it to on the floor. And then if you add the off the floor things to his argument, his case. So what gets me is Michael Jordan, the way they talk about this guy, and then even if you go back and watch, it's like mythical, the things that he could do and the way people perceived him, right? So these are other all-time great players, and we're hearing them say things like he had an aura, or it seemed like he was just floating, or it seemed like he wasn't real. I mean, think about that, right? Think about the player Allen Iverson was, first ballot Hall of Famer, multiple time first team All NBA, blah, 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 blah. The cultural icon, right? All these things Allen Iverson was. But listen to the reverence with which he speaks about Michael Jordan, right? Tracy McGrady, another all-time great guy, another Hall of Famer. Listen to the way he talks about Michael Jordan. Shannon Sharpe, an NFL Hall of Famer, a guy who is unabashedly a LeBron James pom-pom waver, who is constantly telling us that LeBron is that guy and he's the GOAT and he's past Michael Jordan. But listen to the way he even spoke about Michael Jordan versus the way he talks about LeBron. Does anyone find that odd? Does anyone find that interesting? They talk about Michael Jordan as if he wasn't a real person. You don't hear people talking like that about LeBron James. And you just heard a guy who stood on the floor with him, right? A rookie, first time playing him. And he says, he doesn't seem that impressed at all. Now, that's not taking shots at LeBron. Again, LeBron has had an all-time great career, and that's a fact. You can't take that away from him. But I keep saying, people don't look at, perceive, think of, or talk about LeBron the way they talk about Michael Jordan. That has to mean something. And even if you talk about a guy like Victor Wembanyama, who is not old enough to have seen Michael Jordan play. Michael Jordan was retired before Wembanyama was born, right? He was retired before Wembanyama was born. That means his whole basketball life, he's grown up watching LeBron James. So LeBron James, or maybe Kobe, but most likely LeBron James, should be his guy, right? The guy that he grew up watching, his generation's guy. But guess what? You heard how he talked about him. That doesn't say something to you? That doesn't say something to you? So what I want to know from you is, do you think that Victor Wembanyama's response when asked about how it was to meet LeBron for the first time, do you think his response says something about LeBron and how people feel about him? Do you think it says anything about LeBron in conjunction with the GOAT debate? Do you think the way people talk about Michael Jordan helps to push his legend and push him over LeBron, as well as the on the floor stuff? I'd love to hear your comments. Please leave your comments in the comment section. Can't wait to hear them. Can't wait to get back to you. Can't wait to be back with you on the next episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. And I'm out. Peace.